How do you develop a writing routine so that you can write every day? If you're just starting off, building a lasting writing habit can be a challenge. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can develop a lifelong writing habit. What's up, guys? Michael Laron here with Author Level Up, helping you write world-class stories better and faster. And I create these videos because I believe that each of you has an inner Stephen King, and you just need help unlocking it. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and click that little bell, ding, 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 to get notifications every time I have a new writing video. And in this writing video, we're talking about writing routines. You know, I've gotten some emails from some of you asking, how do you develop a writing routine? Because if there's anything that's key to a long-term writing career, it's consistency. And if you can develop a habit, you can be consistent. But if you're just starting off, that can be a challenge. So for anyone who's interested, I'm going to link to my own personal routine video if you're interested in watching that. But in this video, we're going to talk about some steps. But first, I want to talk about an analogy. Building a writing habit is no different than owning and maintaining a car. Think about it. When you got your first car, one, you didn't know how to drive, and two, you probably had a parent or a family member who taught you how to drive and taught you how to use the car, taught you how to maintain the car. And that first time you're in the car by yourself, it's really scary, it's really exhilarating, but the car is probably running optimally, right? You know exactly what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to feel, and you've got that picture of good in your head so that when things don't go properly, you know when to go get some help. You know when to take the car to a mechanic. Building a writing habit is no different. I'm going to teach you how to develop that picture of good so that you know when your habit needs some tune-up. Step one is self-awareness. When is the best time for you to write? How does your mind work? Are you a morning person? Are you an afternoon person? Is nighttime the right time? I want you to figure that out. And if you don't know whether you're more productive in the morning, afternoon, or evening, here's what you can do. Start a journal. Just nothing fancy, just super simple. Start a journal, and then I want you to just journal your words for an entire week, and then write down how many words you write in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And then next to that, I want you to write down how you feel. So, are you happy? Are you feeling sad? You know, on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, whatever that is. Right? And then for an entire week, do this. And then at the end of the week, I want you to sit down and look at the periods where you wrote the most words and you felt the most enthused. That is a very simple way of finding out whether you are more productive and when you're going to be able to write the most words. Step two is to schedule time in those times where you are the most productive and the most enthused to find that time to write. So move things around, make some bargains with your spouse or your significant other and your family, and commit to writing in those times. Now, the myth that I think a lot of people fall into, myself included at the very beginning of my career, was that I thought I needed tons of time to write. Like I thought I needed 4 hours minimum to be able to write anything. And that's absolutely not true. You're actually more productive when you're pressed for time to write. One, that puts some stress on your brain because then you've got to figure out how to make the most of your time. And two, people just don't have hours and hours and hours to write, especially when you've got a family, a job, and other obligations that are going to be necessary for you to commit to. So you can do this in 30 minutes a day, I promise. And I will tell you that it's far better to write 100 words for 7 days straight and be consistent than to write 5,000 words one day and then it go 3 months before you write anything else. And moving your schedule around also means minimizing distractions. So maybe that means you're going to have to cut back a little bit on video games, or maybe you have to cut back a little bit on Netflix. Me personally, I had to stop watching television altogether to make time for my writing habit. You know what your distractions are. If you are truly committed to writing and truly committed to writing that book and getting this done and choosing this lifestyle, you'll make time for it. But that is a tough decision that you'll have to make, especially if you're pressed for time. Step three is to choose your tools. So, you guys know all the time on this channel, I talk all the time about how the tools that you use are the most important decisions that you can make. I want you to pick your tool. Are you going to write on your desktop? Are you going to write on your laptop? Are you going to write on your phone? Are you going to use Microsoft Word? Are you going to use Scrivener? I recommend Scrivener. Are you going to use Ulysses? I would recommend Ulysses as well. Are you going to use StoryShop? You have to pick your tool of the trade, because then I want you to figure out, okay, I'm going to write on my laptop and then I'm going to use Scrivener. And then what I want you to do is I want you to master Scrivener. I want you to invest in tools that will help you master Scrivener. I've got a Learn Scrivener in 20 minutes video that will teach you a lot of what you need to know. But if you really want to master it, I would recommend something like Joseph Michael's Learn Scrivener Fast course. I'll link to that in the video course. Find a course and then master your software. That's going to make your writing sessions go faster because you're not going to be fiddling around with software options, trying to figure out how to fix certain things. And it's going to make you 1,000% more productive. Trust me on this. Step 4 is to select your method of writing. So what do I mean by this? Well, are you going to be writing only at your desktop? Or are you going to be writing on your laptop, which means that you could theoretically write anywhere, like in a coffee shop or in a co-working space, whatever that looks like? Or are you going to be primarily writing on your phone because that's maybe the only time that you have to write? Or maybe you're going to be writing in some mix of those three, or maybe you're going to be dictating, right? I want you to figure out the best method that makes you the most productive. And this takes some trial and error, right? It's not something you're going to know right away, but keep track of how productive you are on different modes. Combine the tool, which hopefully you will master, and then combine that with your preferred method of writing, and that's going to make you more dangerous. It's kind of like in Pokemon, right? When you had to pick your first Pokemon for the first time. You can pick grass, you can pick fire, you can pick water. Each one has their pros and cons, but when you know when to use the right Pokemon, that's when you're dangerous. So know when you're going to be the most dangerous writing. Step 5 is to choose your environment. So are you going to write at home? Are you going to write on the couch at home? Are you going to write in an office at home, in a bedroom? You want to pick that. Maybe you're going to write at a coffee shop. That can get a little expensive, so you probably can't do that all the time, but that is an option nonetheless. And then I want you to start thinking about, in your chosen environment, how much can you tolerate? Like, are you a noise person? Meaning, are you more productive with tons of chaos in the background? Some people are. I'm not. I tend to like quiet. And if you can't minimize that, is there a certain type of music that you like to listen to that will help you get you in the zone? You have to figure that out for yourself. But then, are there other special touches that you can put in your environment to help you relax and concentrate more? Like, for example, I like to diffuse essential oils when I'm writing. It just adds to the mood. And there's certain types of music that I like to listen to. Figure out how to prep your environment so that you can relax, concentrate, and be productive. Step 6 is to choose your diet. I know that sounds a little weird. I'm not going to get nutritional on you, but I can just at least tell you anecdotally that I tend to write better and I tend to write more whenever I have tea in my system. So tea is part of my writing habit. I will always make sure I'm at least drinking tea throughout the day. It's just something about it that makes me more productive. Now, I can tell you, without a doubt, it's probably not a good idea to binge on sugar before you write. You're just going to crash in the middle of your writing session. So figure out, is there a certain snack or a certain type of food that maybe you want to eat before your writing session that will help make you more productive. Step number 7 is one of my secret sauces, all right? And that is to develop or establish what I call a danger zone. Now, what is a danger zone, you might ask? A danger zone is essentially a box around your life, and when something encroaches on that box and threatens to derail your word count for the day or derail your writing habit or take you away from the writing, it means that you need to respond. For example, I've learned about myself over the years. It's just this weird fate thing. I don't know what it is. But if I write at least 1,000 words by 7 a.m. in the morning, I'm more likely to write more words throughout the day. I will usually write multiple thousand words a day, right? If I don't write at least 1,000 words by 7 a.m., I'm in danger of not writing anything else for the day. So because I know that once 7:01 hits and I don't have 1,000 words in, I need to do something about that. So that might mean I might need to move some things around throughout my day so that I can get more time in to write. It might mean I don't watch any television that night so that I can get more time in to write, right? Figure out what your danger zone is, draw those lines, and when those lines get crossed, you respond. Now, you can either respond or you can not respond. Sometimes you can't respond, right? But if you can figure out what that danger zone is and know your rhythm, then when something does happen, you can figure out how to rearrange your schedule to stay consistent. And that is the most important thing. And step 8 is something that I recommend for all of you, is to keep a journal. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy or elaborate, but just write down how your habit is going. Do this like every quarter. You don't have to do this every day, but write down how your habit is going, what's working well, what's not working well, so that you can maintain that picture of good. Remember, this is your image of your car running perfectly, right? The analogy that I used in the beginning of this video, now that you've developed your habit, you know how that car is supposed to run. You know what a good riding session looks like. You know what you're supposed to be doing every day. And now I've given you the tools to maintain that. So when something goes wrong or your day gets rearranged, you know exactly how to respond. Remember, it takes about 21 days to develop a habit. So you're going to have to do this about 21 times before it feels right. And you're going to have to tweak some things, probably more than 21 times, until it feels natural to you. But once you get that image, I want you to hold that in your head and I want you to protect it. And then I want you to remember the thing that almost nobody talks about, which is that life happens. Life will rearrange itself around you. It's not going to be possible for you to maintain the same writing habit that you have today 2 years from now. Like, it's just not possible, right? But the elements are there. You can maintain the elements. You can just rearrange those around, right? So I find, and it's just my own personal life quirk story, that life tends to change rapidly for me about every 90 days. That's when I have to retool and revisit my writing habit. So I just put a calendar invite to give me a notification every 90 days to reevaluate my habit. That way I can just kind of keep things and tweak things as I see fit. I hope that works for you. And every once in a while you have to buy a new car and you have to completely blow things up and start all over again. But remember, consistency is what you're aiming for. If you can be consistent and you can keep doing this day in and day out, even if you have some misses here and there, you're just going to be amazed at where you are in just a few years. I want to hear from you guys. How do you develop a consistent writing habit? And what are some things that you've done over the years to remain consistent in writing every day? Let's learn from each other, and I can't wait to see your comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video.